Hello, it's Paul from Me to Coffee. I just want to do a quick video about the PipaMoka and really how to fill it and what kind of grind size you really should be using for this product. I've had a few questions about it and people are a little bit not really sure about the grind size. Okay, I've ground some coffee here and it's basically the same kind of size as you would use for a filter coffee. It's medium coarse, and as you can see there against my finger, it's quite coarse, but you want that. You don't want a fine grind size or anything like that. You really want like a filter coffee size there. So it actually explains that in the manual. If you look at the top of the instructions in this part here, it actually says about how much to use and the grind size. So that's a good indication. But it will also tell you this for each type of coffee you can make there. It'll give you an indication of what grind size and how much you should use for that. So just read the manual. It's got a lot of information in it and it's pretty good. So, okay. Now I'm going to fill the basket. Take the lid off. And this part here is very useful for filling the basket. Okay, so you want two scoops of coffee, and that's 16 grams of coffee in there. Okay, tiny bit more I suppose, just to give it the 16 grams. Now you can weigh this if you've got some scales, just to make sure it's, you know, it's spot on, but it is very accurate if you use 2 scoops, and it's pretty good. Okay, then put the lid on. Try not to overfill this, and you don't have to tamp this. It's not like a nanopresso where you need to tamp it down. You don't have to do that. So once that's full, fill up your nanopresso, and I'm going for a full cup. So I'm going to take it to the smaller line, just below the smaller line on there, if you can see that. Okay, so I'll fill it up to just below that. This is obviously boiling water, so right. Get that in there. Right, very important when you get to this stage, and again it explains it in the manual, here where my thumb is. Just be careful when you drop in your basket. You don't want to splash any water and you don't want to burn yourself. So again, read the manual, it's very important. Okay, so at this point, you're going to drop in your basket and let that sink. Okay, so that's going down. Just give it time to sink a little bit. You can see the bubbles rising because obviously the trapped air underneath. Okay, that takes a few seconds. Okay. Now, what they also recommend in the manual is once it's got to the bottom, that you give this a few taps just to release any trapped air. Any bubbles. You might not get it all out, but just do as much as you can. Okay, just a few times, because that can cause a vacuum when you're twisting and extracting. So I do it a few times just to try and get. You can see the coffee is starting to release a little bit at the bottom there. So right at that point, I'll put my lid on. Okay, you know, your lid is on quite tight. Okay, at this point you want to start twisting slowly. Now they say in the manual that it's about 1 second per half twist. Again, it depends on what kind of coffee you're making. Different extraction times for different coffee, but this is going quite smoothly and I don't feel like I've got any kind of resistance, so that's a good thing. If your coffee is too fine, then you will get some resistance there. If it's too coarse, if it's too big, then it'll go really fast. Hopefully this grind size is okay. If you find that yours is doing either too fast or too slow, just slightly adjust your grind size and you shouldn't have any problem. So this is going okay so far. Another thing, when you're doing this, if you're not sure when you're at the top, when to take the tube out, count the rings. These rings here, there should be about 16 that will show above this ring. I counted them and there's about 16, so I'll use that as a guide. Again, just keep twisting. Maybe I'm going a little bit slow, but I just want to show you, you know, right now there's no resistance there, so this is going okay. And then just keep turning. And just keep going. Like all the Wacaco products, there's a little bit of a learning curve when you get them. They're not 100% straightforward when you get them. There's a little bit, like the Nanopresso, you really need to get the grind size correct. It's the same with this. But this would be the same if you had like a pour over or a drip coffee. There's a little bit of a technique where you need to get the right grind size and you need to pour the water in a certain way to get it correct. So it's kind of the same with this. It's not, you know, it's not you just put it in there and all of a sudden it comes out and it's perfect. But if you just follow a couple of simple rules, it's a really good product and you get a really nice cup of coffee from it. So just keep going. And once you've used it a few times, you'll get a technique and you'll find out what's best for you and what you feel is acceptable and what's good. Now at this point I would say again, and it mentions this in the manual, that this tube might be a little bit warm because it's coming through hot water. So just be careful with that. Again, you don't want to burn your hands and you don't want any problems. So just be aware of that. Alright, so that's going okay. There's no real resistance there. And maybe again, I don't know if I'm going a little bit too fast, but I just want to show you, you know, how easy it is and give you an idea of how to use it. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 13. 14. If you find it's going a little bit tight when you turn it, just slow down and leave it for a second and then try it again. It gives it time to kind of, you know, to slacken off a little bit and release a little bit. Right, that's getting a little bit less resistance. That's quite easy to move now. So let me just count the rings again. So, right, that's it. You can feel it. It really just, that's it. That's the one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 rings. Then you can take this off. Okay. Again, just be careful. Put that aside. Right. That's your coffee in there. And it's a good brew. It's very clean, like a filtered coffee. But that's basically all you need to do. It's very easy. Different technique for different types of coffee with this machine. And if you read the manual, it totally explains the grind size and the method, what you need to do. It even explains how quickly or how slowly you should turn that for the extraction. But that's basically it. So any problems, drop me a line or leave a comment and I'll get back to you. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.